The drama begins with a scene at Sungjin High School where students are taking their exams. After the exam, Deok-jung goes to his classmate Chi-yeol and says, "Are you still looking at the spheres?" Then they both look up at the sky, where the spheres are visible. Then he says, "It's been a year since they arrived." After this, a flashback shows a scene from 1 year ago when the spheres first appeared on Earth. Seeing them, everyone was shocked and thought the world was about to end. Now in the present, Deok-jung says, "When they first appeared in our area, I thought something dangerous was going to happen." To this, Chi-yeol says, "Even if aliens attack Earth, nothing will change for students." Just then, Chi-yeol sees the class topper, Young-hoon, there. Chi-yeol asks him, "How was your exam?" But he ignores him. Then Deok-jung says to Chi-yeol, "Why did you ask him how his exam was? He's the top student." To this, Chi-yeol says, "Hey, idiot, I was just asking to make the situation less awkward." After this, they both go to an internet cafe to play games. Young-hoon is also there. Deok-jung goes up to him and says, "You're not that good at playing games. Come on, I'll teach you." But he ignores them again and starts to leave. Just then, Deok-jung says, "I told you, he shows attitude." Young-hoon overhears this but leaves without saying anything. On the other side, the military is preparing to destroy a sphere that had fallen that morning. When a soldier attacks it, there's a big explosion, and a strange light starts coming out from within it. Seeing this, all the soldiers present there get scared because it was now clear that this was not a normal thing. The next scene takes place 4 weeks later, where students come back to school and are engaged in their daily fun. Some kids are busy with games, while others are talking among themselves. Just then, Aseol gets a message from Bo-ra to bring her charger to her. As soon as she sees it, Aseol immediately takes the charger and goes to her. As Aseol leaves from there, it is shown that a Young-soo is looking towards So-yeon's skirt. And when So-yeon notices this, she shows him the middle finger, which makes Young-soo feel a bit embarrassed. Meanwhile, on the rooftop, Bo-ra and some other kids are smoking cigarettes. Just then, Aseol arrives and says, "Bo-ra, here is your charger." To which Bo-ra angrily says, "How did you call me Bo-ra? We are not friends, okay? So don't call me by my name." After this, the scene cuts straight to the classroom, where their homeroom teacher, Miss Park, arrives and gives them their report cards. Suddenly, an announcement is made for all teachers to come to the office together. Miss Park goes there, but when she returns, she doesn't seem okay. Then she tells all the students, due to a national emergency, college early admissions have been canceled. And now, third-grade high school students will have to undergo military training for which they will receive extra credits. Hearing this, the top students get worried, while the rest are happy because they have more time to study. The teacher tries to explain more things, but the students are discussing the admission cancellation among themselves and are not listening to the teacher. Then the teacher turns on the TV, from which it is revealed that admissions were canceled due to the emergency, and students will have to undergo training. The teacher tells the students to remain calm and gives them military consent forms, which need to be signed by their parents. She explains that only students who take the training will get extra credits. After the teacher leaves, a fight breaks out between Cho Ai-ha and Young-hoon. Actually, Lee-ha is bullying him again. But this time, the always calm Young-hoon suddenly gets angry and punches him hard. The whole class is in shock because no one had ever seen him react like that before. Later, Chi-yeol gives Young-hoon medicine for his wound and tries to talk to him. But Young-hoon tells him, "If you're doing all this just so I'll be friends with you, then you're mistaken. I have no interest in friendship." Saying this, he leaves from there. The students go home and show the forms to their parents. For various reasons, most parents sign the forms, some out of compulsion, some for extra points, and some to escape boredom. The next morning, the students come to school and joke around. They still don't take any of this seriously. They come with makeup and their favorite things as if everything is normal. The teacher introduces them to the lieutenant, who will be the platoon leader for Class 3-2. He explains that the training will be after classes. Then the lieutenant asks the students who wants to be the video recorder, but no one wants to do this job. After which, the teacher gives this job to Young-hoon, but he refuses and says, "I don't have time. I have to study." After this, Chi-yeol is made the video recorder. The lieutenant explains that he will get reward points for it. Along with this, a reward system is also explained. After which, the students find out that the school has been turned into a military base. All the boys go to their barracks and start having fun. In the boys' barrack, they meet a soldier, Kim Won-bin, who tells them to be quiet, but no one takes him seriously. Just then, the lieutenant arrives and tells everyone to quickly come to the ground. After he leaves, all the kids make fun of him too, because this still doesn't seem serious to them. Meanwhile, on the other side, the girls are also having fun in their barracks. Just then, Ja-yoon arrives and tells them to throw away their non-essential items. At this, everyone starts hiding their makeup, but Ja-yoon yells at them and finally takes their makeup, toys, and other things. After their favorite things are taken away, all the girls become sad. After this, all the students gather on the ground. The lieutenant gives them guns. As soon as he gets a gun, Deok-jung starts fooling around with it. Then Lieutenant Lee tells him, "Who told you to play with the gun?" Seeing this, he runs away from there. Some students sit down and start showing off their gaming experience and start joking around with the guns, even pointing them at each other. One bin tries to stop them, but no one listens to him. Just then, a girl calls him old man, to which he says, "I am not an old man, I am only 21 years old and just 2 years older than you." Hearing this, all the students start making fun of him, and that girl again calls him old man. Just then, the lieutenant arrives and sternly stops everyone. He says, "These weapons are your greatest protection, and also your biggest threat. Playing with them means playing with your life." After this, he makes all the students run until they are exhausted. After running, all the students return to the barracks, tired. So Yeon's friend says exhaustedly, "What, I'm going to die." So Yeon says, "I'm going to die too from the lieutenant's coolness. I think he's totally my type." Then her friend says, "Then what about Soo Cheol, the one you used to call handsome?" To this, So Yeon says, "Yes, but he's not mature." After this, all the girls start crying from exhaustion. Seol is worried about her grandmother and says in a message, "Grandma, don't forget to take your medicine." On the other side, in the boys' barrack, a boy comes running and shows everyone a military video in which they were probably shooting spheres. Seeing this, the students think a war is about to start. Then Deok-jung says, "During a war, the government kills wild animals so people can eat them." Everyone is listening to him seriously. Then a boy asks him, "Where did you hear that?" So he replies, "I saw it in cartoons." Hearing this, everyone starts beating him and making noise. Young-hoon is trying to study amidst the noise, but gets frustrated and starts to leave. Just then, the lieutenant arrives and asks, "Where are you going at this time?" He replies, "I'm getting disturbed while studying here." The lieutenant says sternly, "You cannot go anywhere outside. You have to study here." Young-hoon says, I can't focus. It's noisy here because I-ha has a phone." The lieutenant immediately takes the phone from I-ha and says, "You broke the rule. 3 points will be deducted." I-ha doesn't take it seriously, and as he leaves, says to Young-hoon, "Come to me when you're free." Young-hoon replies, "I'm free now, let's talk now." Hearing this, Yi-hee gets angry and is about to hit him, but the lieutenant comes and gives them both a punishment to throw out the trash. They keep fighting on the way as well. Just then, Chi-yeol comes to stop them. Suddenly, a sphere falls from the sky, near them. I-ha says excitedly, "Wow, I've never seen it this close." Chi-yeol stops him. "Don't go near, it could be dangerous." Adi-ha says in frustration, "If I had my phone, I would post a picture of this and increase my followers." Young-hoon laughs and taunts, "Then post videos of your bullying too." In anger, Hi-ha pushes him, and Young-hoon collides with the sphere. He gets up and says, "You're just like that. When things don't go your way, you do this." Just then, the sphere suddenly opens. The tentacles that come out of it grab Young-hoon. He tries to break free, but it's useless, and in a matter of moments, the sphere swallows him. Chi-yeol and I-ha are frozen in fear. Chi-yeol was very close to the sphere and was trying to understand what happened to Young-hoon and was trying to get closer to him when the sphere attacks him too. But just then, the lieutenant comes and saves him and takes them both inside. After which, he sits with Miss Park. Miss Park is very sad to hear the news of Young-hoon's death. She says to the lieutenant, "You said that these spheres are not dangerous, then how did this happen to Young-hoon?" Hearing this, the lieutenant says, "We had absolutely no expectation that this would happen to Young-hoon." Miss Park says to him, "Now, what should I do with the rest of the children? I will send them to their homes." To which the lieutenant says, "We cannot send the children home. We have received orders to hide the truth. Do not tell the children anything about Young-hoon's death. Everything will be handled according to military laws." Saying this, he goes from there to the classroom where I-ha and Chi-yeol are. Just then, Miss Park stops him and says, "I will talk to the children." After which she goes to both of them, asks about their condition, and says, "What happened with Young-hoon was no one's fault, so don't blame yourselves. And whatever happened, don't tell the other students about it. I will talk to everyone properly later. So can you hide this from the students? And tell them that Young-hoon got injured, which is why he had to go home." I-ha and Chi-yeol agree to this. When they both arrive in the barracks, everyone asks them what the explosion outside was like, to which they reply that there was an accident outside. I-ha says nothing. Just then, a student says to Chi-yeol, "Chi-yeol, what was the explosion outside like? And why did only you two come back? Where is Young-hoon?" To which Chi-yeol says, "Young-hoon injured himself, which is why he had to go home." The other students are curious, but they don't doubt their story. The next morning, Miss Park comes to school listening to warnings on the radio that last night, 30 spheres fell across the country. it is still difficult to say what damage has been caused in Seoul. Therefore, everyone must protect themselves so that the spheres do not come near them. On the other side, the students wonder what happened to the gym where the sphere fell. Just then, a boy scares a girl and starts laughing. He tries to scare her again, but this time, she slaps him and walks away, making all the classmates laugh at the boy. The other students remain unaware of what happened to Young-hoon, but Iha and Chi-yeol look sad. The students continue their classes, but are disturbed by the constant sound of ambulance sirens. Just then, their teacher tells them, "Children, I have told you before, and I say it again today, no one can make your life easy. So study with all your might and train. Give it your all." But no one pays attention to his words. Later, the training begins, which was not easy for them, but all the children undergo training for the sake of points. They also learned CPR and life-saving skills. After the training, they are given military food, which everyone complains about. Everyone's life had completely changed. Meanwhile, everyone also records messages for their families, where Daeok-jung says, "The training is hard, but it's nice to talk to the girls during the night watch, and today I will be on watch with Hana." On the other side, the girls are also collecting their clothes in the laundry room, where a girl says, "I want to date a British guy," to which another girl says, "But you don't even know English, so how will you talk to him?" and starts making fun of her. Just then, a girl screams and points her finger saying, "Is he looking at me?" At this, everyone looks in that direction, where Daeok-jung and another boy are looking at them from the window. Then a girl throws her cloth at the window, at which Daeok-jung stroms off like a girl and leaves. One night, as soon as Chi-yeol opens his eyes, Iha is standing in front of him, which scares Chi-yeol. Then Iha says, "I don't feel safe here." To which Chi-yeol shouts in fear, "I haven't told anyone anything." Then they look around to see if anyone has woken up. Then Iha tells him, "I'm afraid you will tell someone." Chi-yeol pleads with him, saying, "I won't say anything to anyone until my last breath." To which Iha says, "We'll see," and he attacks Chi-yeol with a dumbbell lying nearby. Chi-yeol runs outside to escape and hides in a room. Iha moves forward, searching for him. Before the Iha can come back, Chi-yeol runs in the other direction from there, but there he collides with a sphere, and the sphere's tentacles begin to open. Just then, Chi-yeol's eyes open, and he realizes it was just a dream. He goes outside. Then he sees that a room's light is on. Chi-yeol goes there where he sees Na-ra. He goes to her and says, "Na-ra, you're here at this time?" To which she explains, "I couldn't sleep. And you?" To which Chi-yeol replies, "I also just woke up for no reason." After which he sees that some names are written on the board. Na-ra explains, "These are the people who got injured and went back home," and asks, "What about Young-hoon?" To which Chi-yeol tells her, Young-hoon got a minor injury. After this, Na-ra writes, "Get well soon," next to Young-hoon's name on the board and says to Chi-yeol, "You were close to Young-hoon, right?" To which Chi-yeol says, "We both grew up in the same village." To which Na-ra says, "Then you must be very close to him." Chi-yeol also replies in the affirmative. After which Na-ra leaves from there and Chi-yeol starts crying, looking at Young-hoon's name. The next day, the lieutenant tests the students. He tells the children, "I will give you all 1 minute. You all have to assemble a gun. And if anyone fails to assemble the gun within a minute, they will get a penalty." All the children, hearing about the penalty, say, "No." Then the lieutenant says, "No, who said that? Please come out." But no one comes out. After which he calls Group 1. All the children of Group 1 assemble the gun within a minute. Similarly, Group 2 and Group 3 also assemble the gun within a minute. After this, he calls the students of all groups, and all the children assemble the gun within a minute, except for Seol. Then the lieutenant repeatedly tells her to assemble the gun, but she is unable to assemble it within 1 minute. Soon it becomes evening, then night, which makes the other students angry with her. The lieutenant is disappointed with their behavior and reminds them that they can only survive through teamwork. During dinner, Bo-ra tries to make Seol feel even worse. Another student intervenes and starts taking Seol's side, to which Bo-ra says to him, "Why are you taking her side? Are you her boyfriend?" To which the boy replies, "If only her boyfriend can speak for her, then fine, I am her boyfriend." Hearing this, all the other students are shocked and Bo-ra walks away from there. After which, everyone talks about using real bullets the next day. The next morning, students go outside the school for real bullet practice. The streets are empty, which surprises them, and they look all around. Then Daeok-jung says to Chi-yeol, "Just yesterday there were fire trucks here, and then today, not a single one." But Chi-yeol doesn't respond to him and makes a strange face. To which Daeok-jung says, "Do you need to go to the bathroom?" making a face like that. Hearing this, a girl says, "Why are you asking him whether he needs to go to the bathroom or not? The truth is that you need to go to the bathroom." Then the lieutenant quiets them down and tells them to walk silently. In a short while, they reach the shooting spot. But as soon as they get there, loud gunshots are heard, which scares everyone. Actually, students from another school are also training inside. The lieutenant calms them down. After which we are shown a recording scene where Woo Taek says, "The sound of the gunshots was so loud I was about to wet my pants." And Deok Jung has already wet his. Then Deok Jung says, "I think I have to go to the bathroom again. Why isn't it stopping?" After having fun, all the children go for training, where they fire guns with real bullets. Everyone starts going to check their scores. Then Nara says to Chi-yeol, "Are you okay? Why is your face red?" To which Chi-yeol says, "My face? Heh, where?" Nara touches his face and says, "Here, it seems like it's from an injury." To which Chi-yeol says, it must have happened when I was adjusting the sight of my gun to shoot. You should be careful too." Na-ra replies in the affirmative. Just then a soldier shouts, "Kim Chi-yeol, don't you want to know your target score?" After which Chi-yeol starts running towards the ground, where the lieutenant is looking at everyone's scores. He asks Deok Jung, "I gave you 3 shots, but why is there only 1 hole here?" To which Deok Jung says, "With my fantastic shooting skills, I hit the bullseye in all 3 rounds." Hearing this, everyone starts laughing at him, and Deok Jung starts flexing his body. The lieutenant tells him to sit down. Then Lieutenant Lee announces everyone's scores and says, "The one who did the best among all of you is Na-ra. All her shots hit the circle." Hearing this, everyone claps. Chi-yeol is shocked to hear this, after which the lieutenant makes them train again. Then the lieutenant tells them to go to the training field, but all the children start saying, "I don't want to do it." To motivate them, the lieutenant announces, "You will get 3 points for it." After which, everyone starts training with full motivation. This time, too, Nara performs the best, which impresses Chi-yeol. On the way back, the lieutenant and Wonbin stop upon hearing a noise and go to investigate. He tells the students to stay together and starts moving in that direction. But disobeying him, Hee-rak and Tae-man go to a convenience store to get snacks. There's no one there, and they pick up snacks. Just then, Miss Park finds out that 2 students are missing, and she informs Ja-yoon 2 students are missing. Ja-yoon sets out to find them with a soldier. Then Young-soo reports, "They were talking about the convenience store, so Miss Park goes to find them with the class president, Yoo-jung. While searching for them, Yoo-jung sees a gun. She thinks, those 2 are hiding here and having fun?" After which she moves towards it and starts to pick up the gun, but a severed hand also comes up with the gun. Seeing this, she screams, which alerts everyone else. Meanwhile, the lieutenant and Wonbin find out that a sphere is missing. Miss Park sees the blood and goes to investigate. Just then, Chi-yeol tries to stop her and says, "You will be killed just like Yong-hoon was." This leaves the other students in shock. But still, Miss Park moves forward and sees that there are spheres and dead bodies of students from another school. She shouts for the children to run. But then, the spheres start to attack. Miss Park picks up a gun and fights, shooting down as many spheres as she can, but she runs out of bullets. After that, she tries to say something to the other children, but a sphere comes from behind and kills Miss Park, while the students watch all of this. Another soldier arrives, but the spheres kill him too. The students realize they have to run, and they flee in small groups. On the streets, they find more dead bodies and spheres. Soldiers help them and tell them to run. Each group is worried about the other. Some students, like Hana, get very scared, especially when they see Ja-yoon die. Hana locks herself in a car and is too scared to look up, which prevents Bo-ra and Soon-yi from getting in. Just then, a sphere moves towards them. Bo-ra immediately pulls Soon-yi towards her. Just then, Ja-yoon arrives, but the sphere kills her too. Chaos erupts everywhere. Everyone starts running somewhere to save their lives. Finally, Wonbin succeeds in bringing most of the children together. Bo-ra and Soon-yi hide in a safe place, but the spheres surround them and try to break the windows. The window slowly starts to break, and more spheres move towards them. Meanwhile, Hee-rak and Tae-man are comfortably eating in the convenience store when they hear gunshots, to which Hee-rak says, "What kind of gunshots are these?" To which Tae-man says, "We'll only find out by going there." After which, they pack more snacks and start to leave. Hee-rak and Tae-man are about to leave the store when they see a sphere, but both are unaware of the sphere and start playing with it. Hee-rak touches the sphere with his hand, but then the sphere attacks them, after which they realize they are in danger and they run inside the store and start fighting the sphere. At one point, the sphere catches Tae-man, but in the end, Hee-rak saves Tae-man, and they both start running again. The sphere also starts chasing them, but then Hee-rak locks the sphere in the freezer, and the sphere starts to die in the freezer. Meanwhile, on the other side, some children are hiding in a parking lot. Then one of them, Jang-soo, picks up his gun and thinks of killing the sphere, but a girl starts to stop him. But Jang-soo doesn't listen and starts moving towards the sphere and tells everyone else to come out too. At first, everyone refuses, but seeing Jang-soo move forward, they all come out too. Just then, a sphere attacks them from above. Everyone starts running in different directions. Then a sphere grabs Woo Taek by the neck, but just then, the girl with Woo Taek closes the car door, which makes the sphere let go of Woo Taek. After which, they fight the sphere, shoot them, and get out of there. Are going somewhere. He follows them to where Bo-Ra and Sun-Yi are. The spheres are about to break the glass where Bo-Ra and Sun-Yi are hiding. But just then, the lieutenant arrives, attacks the spheres, and saves Bo-Ra and Sun-Yi. Just then, another sphere attacks, but Nara, with her excellent aim, shoots that sphere down. Finally, most of the children gather in one place under the leadership of Lieutenant Lee and Kim Won-bin. They still can't believe what is happening. Won-bin tells the lieutenant about the casualties and gives him Seo Ja-yoon's watch. He also mentions that he has given each student 3 bullets. The lieutenant explains to the students that the fragments of spheres falling from the sky had attacked them, after which he tells all the students, what you all saw today are spheres falling from the sky. Those small creatures have come to attack and kill us, and you all are being trained so that you can kill those spheres. Everyone gets scared hearing this, but then some movement is felt there, and the lieutenant tells the students to keep their weapons ready and follow him. But he throws his cap to check if they are spheres and tells everyone to be ready to attack, but He-Rock and Tai-Man emerge from there. He immediately tells everyone to stop firing, but No A-Seol fires a shot and almost kills them. She is in a state of fear, so the lieutenant tries to calm her down and says to her, A-Seol, everything is fine here. It's fine. And he lowers A-Seol's gun. The students return to the school and resume their training. Then they see that students from another school have arrived there, and their condition is very bad. The other students don't understand what happened. Then, in a flashback, the lieutenant remembers how his unit was attacked by a sphere, and then he received orders to recruit high school students. Protesting this, the lieutenant says, but they are still students. Will they understand this situation? To which his senior says, they will have to understand. And besides, we have the excuse of the college scholastic ability test. To which the lieutenant angrily says, the college scholastic ability test is of no benefit to them. They are going to die in the end. To which his senior says, they will die anyway. At least give them weapons so they can fight. I am not trying to kill them either. I want to save them too. The lieutenant thinks this and looks at the children. Meanwhile, in the classroom, the children were still in shock over Miss Park's death. Then Ha-Na apologizes to Bo-Ra and Sun-Yi for not opening the door. To which Bo-Ra says, I have no desire to talk to you right now. Ha-Na still apologizes to her. Then So-Yoon decides to go home, and several students behind her start packing to go home. Just then, the lieutenant arrives and stops them, saying that it is dangerous to go outside and the school is the safest place. Then So-Yoon says, our homeroom teacher was killed. Young-Hoon was also killed. And you are saying that the school is the safest place? Then Sun-Yi, who is crying for her mother, says, we will all stay inside our homes. Let us go home. Please, let us go home. To which the lieutenant says, okay, suppose you are sent home. Won't these spheres attack there? Hearing this, everyone falls silent. Then the lieutenant says, the night training will be as per the schedule. Everyone be ready. And he leaves from there. Later, the class president Yu Jung and Young Shin meet with the lieutenant, where Yu Jung, giving a paper to the lieutenant, says, these are the children's vote. All the children want to go home. To which the lieutenant tells them, there is nothing to go home to now. All your parents have been placed in shelters due to a nationwide evacuation order. To which Yu Jung says, so why can't you send all of us to the shelter with our moms and dads? Then the lieutenant, cutting her off, says, we are all in a war right now, and you can't go anywhere, even if you want to. Saying this, he folds the voting paper. Hearing this, the students become sad and angry. The night training is very difficult, and the children start to break down. Yu Jung breaks down crying that she can't do it anymore. During this, the lieutenant remembers that only depleted uranium ammunition works to destroy the spheres. But ammunition and soldiers were scarce, so students were recruited. After dinner, the students plan to escape. They decide that some people will go and check if their parents are in the shelter or not. Chi-yeol, Jang-soo, Young Shin, and a reluctant Deok-jung go. Chi-yeol peeks out of the bathroom, and Won-bin is sleeping, after which they plan to go out by removing the bathroom grill. Young Shin goes out first and acts as a ladder between the two walls, after which Chi-yeol and Jang-soo get out, and then it's Deok-jung's turn. Seeing Deok-jung, Young Shin gets scared, but Deok-jung gets stuck in the window before he can use Young Shin's support. Somehow they get out of there and cautiously make their way to the ground outside. Soldiers are roaming all around, so they have to be vigilant. But there, Deok-jung gets caught. Won-bin and another soldier catch him. Upon being caught, Deok-jung pretends to be scared, at which Won-bin comes to him and asks, what happened? What's over there? Then Deok-jung says, catch me if you can, and starts running. As soon as he leaves, the others also start running, but Won-bin catches Deok-jung and the others as well. Deok-jung, without making a sound, moves his lips telling the 3 of them to run, but the three don't understand him. Then Won Bin tries to read Deok Jung's lips and says, "Idiots, run!" Deok Jung also shouts, "Hey, idiots, run!" And he grabs both soldiers with his elbows, and the other three also start running, but in the end, they are caught. The lieutenant punishes them and says, "Now you are soldiers, not students. If anyone tries to escape, they will be considered a rebel and will be killed." Hearing this, the students get scared. Upon reaching the room, everyone starts thinking about escaping again. Then Young Shin makes a new plan. "I'll tell the other classes the truth." And the next morning, everyone spreads the news of Yong Hoon's and Miss Park's deaths all around, and hearing this, all the children get ready to escape with them. After lunch, the students protest and try to leave the school. To stop the children, Young-il fires a warning shot, but they don't stop. The lieutenant also tries to stop them, but no one stops. But just then, a sphere falls there and the attack begins. Soldiers and students fight together, but many people are killed. Young-il tries to escape, but is killed. Many children, many soldiers are killed. Yoo-jung leads some students towards the classrooms. Woo-taek's body is surrounded by spheres, and Won Bin is unable to save Woo-taek. Young Shin saves Ia-seol. Na-ra fights like a skilled soldier and saves many people. Finally, some students and soldiers barricade themselves inside the school. They are afraid that spheres are continuously falling. The lieutenant and Won Bin make a plan to take them to a safe place. They give the students gear and ammunition and explain the plan to get out. Everyone, armed, follows them. Reaching the ground floor, the lieutenant tells them to run towards the military trucks and tells Na-ra and Jang Seo to provide cover. Everyone runs towards the truck with all their might to save their lives. Meanwhile, Sun-yi breaks down seeing a plane falling from the sky and refuses to get on the truck. The others try to convince her. Just then, some spheres start moving towards them, at which everyone tells A-seol to shoot, but A-seol is unable to shoot due to fear. But then Bo-ra shoots at those spheres and saves them. Unfortunately, In-hai cannot reach the truck. Everyone tries to grab her hand, but due to a leg injury, In-hai cannot run. And in a matter of moments, the spheres kill her too. Won Bin also barely manages to get on the truck, and finally, they get out of there, after which the trucks are on an open road heading towards their next destination. The students are tired and scared. Some are crying, some are sleeping. As always, Sun-yi is crying for her mother, and Yang-soo wonders if their parents are safe in the shelters. Split into two different trucks, they also wonder who survived and if the other team is safe. Suddenly, one of the trucks has an accident when a sphere kills the soldier driving. The students get out of the vehicle and see that So Yeon is injured. Just then, Sun-yi screams loudly. Upon inspection, it turns out her knee was injured. Sun-yi only has a minor injury, but she reacts as if it's very serious. Their ammunition has also run out, and So Yeon's condition is getting worse. The students argue about whether to stay there or find a shelter somewhere. Young Shin looks at the map and says, "Our destination shelter is 20 kilometers away. Considering the heat and So Yeon's condition, walking seems difficult." Hee-rak says, "We should stay by the road and wait for rescue," while Chi-yeol is in favor of finding a nearby shelter. A fight breaks out between the two. In the end, Young Shin says, "Some people should stay and some should go find a shelter." On the other side, the second truck safely reaches the shelter. The lieutenant is worried that the other truck has not arrived yet. The students are also worried because that truck had left before them. At the shelter, they see many dead bodies, which increases their fear. They sit in a tent and wait. Yoo-jung repeatedly tells the lieutenant to bring the rest of the team safely. Meanwhile, in the other team, some people split up to find a place to stay. Hee-rak stays by So Yeon's side. After a while, everyone comes back and says they found nothing. Just then, Chi-yeol arrives and says, "I have found a place," after which everyone starts following him. Before leaving, Young Shin makes a mark on the truck so that if anyone comes looking for them, they can find the way. Meanwhile, the lieutenant asks his senior for a vehicle so he can bring the other children. His senior says, "Lieutenant, just look outside at how many people haven't come. Not a single child from Yungrung High School has come, so please don't create more problems for us." To which the lieutenant says, "Please help me. Those children are still alive." But his senior does not agree. After which, the lieutenant goes to Won Bin and tells him that he didn't get help, after which they both make a plan to steal a military vehicle. On the other side, some children reach a distance and look around. Then Hee-rak says, "Chi-yeol, you said you found a place, so where is it now?" To which Chi-yeol says, "I'm not familiar with this location yet. I don't remember exactly where I saw that house." Hearing this, Hee-rak gets angry and shouts, "We should never have listened to him. We should have stayed there and waited for rescue." Just then, Tae-man shouts, "Found it!" A short distance away was an old house. They decide to take shelter there. They carry So Yeon inside. Inside the house, everyone looks for food and medical supplies. They try to treat So Yeon, but her infection worsens and her fever rises. While looking for food, Hee-rak finds bottles of liquid nitrogen, but he pays no attention and continues to look for food. Everyone is hungry and looking for food. Then Junhee finds ramen, but she decides to hide it and eat it alone. The other students are disappointed for not finding any food. Then Junhee makes an excuse to go to the washroom, goes outside, and starts eating ramen in hiding. She says to herself, this one packet won't fill anyone's stomach, but if I eat it alone, at least my stomach will be full. After which, Wonbin goes to the officer who has the keys to the vehicles. There he sees the officer's name on his uniform and says, Park Jin-soo, I never expected to see you here. To which the officer says, do I know you? Wonbin says casually, why, we were in the same troop, the Nonsan troop. But the officer says, but I was in Chuncheon. But Wonbin handles the situation, saying, we thought how great it would be if we did our duty together in Nonsan. Remember, come on, man, you've forgotten me. The officer says, I remember, how are you? Wonbin is happy and starts talking to him. Just then, his eyes fall on Jin-soo's pocket where the car keys are. Wonbin pretends to touch his feet, takes out the keys and says to him, your body's still tough, man. Jin-soo happily says, yeah, I still take care of my diet and exercise. After this, Wonbin says goodbye and starts to leave. But just then, Jin-soo calls him from behind. Wonbin thinks he's been caught, but Jin-soo says, do you still smoke? Wonbin says, I quit smoking a long time ago. But Jin-soo grabs the same hand of Wonbin's that holds the keys, but he only sniffs Wonbin's hand and says, you really did quit smoking? Wonbin says, laughing, I told you so. Okay, I'm off now. And Wonbin finally gets the keys from there and gives them to the lieutenant, and he says to the lieutenant, you know what the punishment is for stealing from the military, right? To which the lieutenant says, death, I know that much. Okay, I'll be right back. Saying this, the lieutenant leaves from there. Just then, Deok-jung suddenly appears and says to Wonbin, where is the lieutenant going? To which Wonbin says, you scared me. He's not going to eat anything, and what's it to you? And why have you unbuttoned your shirt? Wonbin tries to button Deok-jung's shirt, but the shirt won't close because of Deok-jung's belly. After which, Wonbin starts to take him towards the camp and says to Deok-jung, Deok-jung, tell me the truth. What are you eating here? And starts joking. But Deok-jung comes to the camp and tells everyone, the lieutenant is going to rescue our classmates. Yet why else would he go outside? After hearing this, everyone thinks of going with the lieutenant to save their friends, and they all hide and sit in the truck. On the other side, Chi-yeol, Soo-cheol, and the others are sitting outside doing something. Then Soo-cheol says, Chi-yeol, what are you thinking? To which Chi-yeol says, the people who used to live here, it seems they left this house in a hurry. There's also a vehicle in the garage. To which Hirak shouts, couldn't you have said that earlier? We could have gone to the shelter in that van. Soo-cheol says, calm down. Anyway, none of us knows how to drive. To which Hirak says, I know how to drive. On the other side, when Junhee goes to hide and eat ramen, she sees a sphere. She screams in fear and runs inside the house. The others also come inside and lock the door. The sphere tries to get in through a ventilator, so they hide in another room and close the windows. They realize there's only one sphere, but it is very clever. It has figured out that there is only one way out of the house, and it can detect the presence of humans by sound. Everyone is sitting in fear. Just then, Sunyi points to a piece of ramen on Junhee's mouth and asks, were you eating ramen? Then Soo-cheol says, that sphere is after us because you were eating in secret. Everyone is angry at Junhee for eating the ramen alone. As night falls, So-yeon's condition worsens, after which Chi-yeol makes a risky plan. He plans to quietly go out to the garage through the window and goes to the garage to get tools to remove the window grill. But the sphere starts following him and attacks him, but Chi-yeol somehow manages to escape and come back. Then Youngshin makes a plan. They turn on the TV and play a movie, so the sphere thinks they are still inside. Then they quietly exit through the window and reach the garage. In the garage, they try to get into the truck, but the sphere sees them. They close the garage and look for the keys. The keys are found, but Hirak can't drive the truck because he doesn't know how to drive a manual. Meanwhile, the key falls far away. When they try to pick up the key, they see that the sphere is about to enter from the roof. Then they decide that one person has to stay behind and distract the sphere so that the others can escape. First, they think of leaving So-yeon, but then decide to let chance decide. Hirak's name comes up in the game, but Jang-soo decides to sacrifice himself in his place. Everyone else gets ready to get in the truck. Jang-soo takes a bucket and a piece of wood and goes outside. Outside, he starts making noise, which makes the sphere come towards him. While Jang-soo distracts the sphere, everyone gets into the truck, and So-yoon drives the vehicle. And everyone finally escapes from there. Jang-soo watches them go and breathes a sigh of relief. After going some distance, everyone stops the truck and worries about Jang-soo. Just then, they realize that Hirak is missing. Meanwhile, the lieutenant and the students, while traveling in the truck, reach the first truck. They look around to see if there are any spheres. Then they find the mark left by Youngshin, which tells them that the other children have probably reached some shelter. Knowing this, they feel a little relieved and make a strategy to move forward. Then spheres are seen on the way. As the spheres approach, everyone starts firing at them. Actually, Hirak stays behind to help Jiangsu. Although Jiangsu looked brave on the outside, he was very scared on the inside. Just then, the sphere starts chasing him. While running, he reaches a place from where there was no way out. Then the sphere attacks him, but just then, Hirak uses the liquid nitrogen he found in the garage and kills the sphere and says, I remembered that I had locked it in the freezer at the CVS store, which caused its death. Jiangsu realizes that Hirak came here risking his life to help him, which makes him happy. They both look at each other and start laughing loudly. But they don't know that more spheres are coming towards them. They are talking and moving forward when the lieutenant pushes them. Actually, the spheres were about to attack from above. The lieutenant is trying to kill the spheres alone, when Nara helps him from behind. After which Jiangsu, Hirak, and the other students reach the truck, where everyone asks each other how they are. Then Hirak says, it would take us 3 days to tell you what happened to us. Right, Jiangsu? Jiangsu turns his head to the other side, which makes it seem like he is ignoring Hirak. But then he says, it would take at least 4 days. Everyone laughs at his words and starts joking around. The lieutenant also smiles, hearing their conversation. Upon reaching the camp, everyone hugs Wanbin. Then Diha says, you look even older. To which Wanbin lovingly says, I was getting older every second waiting for you. Everyone starts laughing. The other students are angry with Young-soo because he stayed in the camp alone, only caring about his own life. But Wanbin defends him and explains that Young-soo prepared these tents for all of you. He cares about you too. Meanwhile, the lieutenant gets reprimanded for not following orders, but he does not get punished. As the lieutenant comes out of the room, a soldier says to the senior, why didn't you punish him? He made a mistake. To which the senior, defending the lieutenant, says, if I send him away, who will stay here? He alone is as brave as all of you put together. Hearing this, the lieutenant also smiles. In the next few months, the students adjust to the camp and start getting better at training, except for Ai Seol, who still has a lot of difficulty. They continue to record video messages for their families. Chi-yeol, while recording a video, goes to the girls' camp, where So-yeon is showing her injury scar. Just then, everyone starts scolding Chi-yeol for recording a video there. Then, a girl who is setting her friend's eyebrow accidentally cuts it. Everyone goes to her. Young-soo says in his recording, Chi-yeol, we have been in the military for so many days. Our exams are also coming up. I haven't even done my mathematics yet, we have very little time. Ai-ha gets irritated hearing Young-soo's words. There's chaos in the girls' camp again. Junhee shouts, I can't find my clothes. Chi-yeol, you must have taken them. Chi-yeol nervously says, No, I didn't take them. Yoo-jung, being the leader of everyone, gets tired because everyone calls her for every little thing. Na-ra does well in every task, while Bo-ra and she argue about Ae-seol. Spheres are still hovering in the sky, scaring people. The military is troubled by this situation and believes that spheres survive by eating humans. They are trying to create cryogenic weapons because spheres are affected by the cold. A leader, Cha-moon Hyok, says, we can't wait. We have to attack immediately. Due to a shortage of army officers, they will have to use student forces. The group of students from Sungjin is the largest, for which it is decided to send them on this mission. In return, they will get a chance to go home and take the College Scholastic Ability Test exam. Hearing this, they are shocked because they thought they would go straight home. The lieutenant tells them to be ready for the mission the next day. That evening, at dinner, no one can eat properly. Everyone is scared about the mission. They feel that it could be a suicide mission. So Cheol says, I don't even feel like eating. But you're eating even in a situation like this? And everyone looks at Deok Jung, who is about to take a big bite. But hearing everyone, he also puts his bite down. Meanwhile, Wantbin and the lieutenant are worried about whether they're doing the right thing. They are also concerned about asking the students to write a will, but the class president, Yoo Jung, overhears them from behind and tells the other students. She tells everyone, there's nothing to worry about. This is just a formality. Everyone put some of your nails and hair in this bag. If your dead body is not found after you die, this will be useful for your funeral. Hearing this, the students get even more scared. They feel they are being sent to die. They refuse to write a will and take out their anger on Yuk Jung. At night, everyone tries to sleep, but they can't. Then Deok Jung says, Chi-yeol, do you remember how we made a list at the beginning of the semester based on the girls' popularity? To which Chi-yeol smiles and says, yes, I remember. Deok Jung continues, now seeing the girls without their faces washed is scary. Then Chi-yeol says, some of them always look the same. Ji-ha wakes up from their voices and tells them to sleep quietly. But everyone gets up and says they can't sleep either. Just then, Bo-ra comes to the boys' camp and says, you can't sleep either? Everyone sits together and after a long conversation, decides to write their wills. When the lieutenant and Won-bin find out that Yoo-jung has told everyone, they come to the students. Seeing them, everyone starts hiding. Some say they were just about to sleep. Yoo-jung has all the wills and everyone starts to move around. Then the lieutenant says, "I heard none of you have eaten." Everyone is scared that they might get punished, but the lieutenant and Won-bin plan a surprise for everyone. Both showcase their cooking skills. All the children are happy. Just then, Jang-soo throws flour on Taeman. Everyone starts laughing. Taeman also throws flour on Jang-soo, but Jang-soo ducks and the flour goes on Soon-yi. Everyone becomes quiet. Then Soon-yi screams and throws flour at Taeman. Then Won-bin shouts, "Don't play with food." But Hee-rak throws flour at him and says, "Shut up, old man." Won-bin throws the flour on the lieutenant, and everyone becomes quiet. Everyone thinks the lieutenant will be angry, but the lieutenant also starts having fun with them, after which everyone starts playing with flour. After a while, when everyone calms down, the children say, "Lieutenant, you are more of a child than us. It seems like you are having more fun than us." Then a girl says, "Lieutenant, what did you do before you came here? Did you go to university?" Then So Yeon says, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Hearing this, everyone falls silent. And the lieutenant, smiling, says, "I will only answer questions related to training, okay?" Then Deok-jung says, "He definitely has a girlfriend." To which So Yeon argues, "No, he doesn't have a girlfriend." Seeing this, the lieutenant starts laughing. So Yeon says again, "When the war is over, we will all go home. What will you do then?" The lieutenant repeats his statement that he will not answer any questions other than those related to training. After the children's insistence, the lieutenant talks about his school life and future plans, and for a while, they forget about the mission. But the truth cannot be hidden for long. They start thinking about the mission again. The lieutenant assures them that he will stay with them until the end and protect them. The next morning, the troops set out on the mission. They are given roles and sphere detectors. They head towards a nearby town. There is fear, but also a little hope. Chi-yeol is a bit sad because he thinks Nara likes someone else. Then Deok-jung, looking at Nara, says, "Look at them, just like a melodrama. And you are that character who is the third wheel in the drama." Exactly like that. Then Chi-yeol tells him to be quiet. Meanwhile, Hee-rak finds a bottle of Coke and doesn't share it with anyone. Suddenly, the sphere detectors start giving alerts. They move forward cautiously. Not a single sphere was visible nearby, so the lieutenant devises a strategy and throws a toy on the road. The sound of it makes the spheres come down. As soon as the spheres arrive, everyone tries to kill them under the lieutenant's guidance. Then the spheres change their strategy and hide, forcing the students to go from house to find them. Nara provides cover like a sniper while the others go inside to search. In search of a sphere, Won-bin, Chi-yeol, Deok-jung, and Ae-seol go into a house where spheres attack them, but somehow everyone manages to escape. Then Won-bin enters a room and tells Ae-seol to open a door there. Everyone else gets ready with their guns so that as soon as the sphere comes out, they can kill it with bullets. But upon opening the door, they find an injured girl. They bring her out. Kim Won-bin reassures the survivor that everything will be okay. The other students wonder what happened to her and her team. Just then, that survivor, whose name is Yoon Seo, says, "Am I dreaming?" Then the lieutenant returns with 2 more survivors. By mistake, Ae-seol's foot lands on a dead body. Since it's a dead body, she doesn't pay attention. But then Yoon Seo says, "Don't step on her. Don't step on her. She's my friend." Ae-seol apologizes to her, but Yoon Seo has an emotional breakdown and faints. After which they all reach Shelter 8 and are shocked to see that everyone present there has been killed. However, there are no signs of spheres there. They give first aid to the survivors and after cleaning the building, pay their respects to the dead. The students start to worry about their parents, whether they are safe or not. The lieutenant interrogates the survivors. They explain that their mission was to deliver supplies to the shelter, but as soon as they arrived, the spheres attacked. And their commander abandoned them and disappeared, leaving the children without guidance. They were just told to wait. One of the survivors says, "They told us to wait, and we didn't even break any rules for the sake of the college scholastic ability test. So why did this happen to us?" Saying this, she starts to cry. Then the lieutenant says, "Calm down. When everything is fine, I will talk to you." Saying this, he leaves from there. Seeing him go, Yoon Seo looks at him with a look of disgust. Yoo-jung notices this. After which the lieutenant and Won-bin try to understand how the spheres attacked the shelter, as the shelters were built on the outskirts of the city where medium-sized spheres did not usually come. The lieutenant thinks that it was a planned surprise attack and the spheres are much more intelligent than they thought. Later, Bo-ra talks to the lieutenant about Ae-seol, who is still struggling to understand and accept everything. The lieutenant tells her to be patient, but Bo-ra warns him not to regret it later. At night, Yoo-jung sees Park Yoon Seo going into a room alone. She follows her. and sees that she is picking up a gun. Yoo Jung tries to calm her down, but Yoon Seo blames herself for surviving while her friends died. She says, "I ran away. All my friends were screaming for my help, but I ran away alone and they all were killed." Yoo Jung consoles her and says, "When my friends were killed, I used to think the same way. But what happened was no one's fault, so please put that rifle down." Hearing Yoo Jung's words, Yoon Seo lowers the gun, but then she gets scared seeing the lieutenant there. Yoon Seo angrily points the gun at him and blames the adults for lying to them. During this, she accidentally fires a shot that hits Won Bin. He had stepped in between to save the lieutenant. Everyone immediately starts to help Won Bin. While Yoon Seo breaks down, Chi-yeol takes the gun from her, and the other students watch her, helpless. When Won Bin is stable, he gets up and assures everyone that he is fine. The bullet passed through his shoulder. The lieutenant gets angry at him for risking his life. Both understand Yoon Seo's condition and admit that they lied to the children, which has hurt them. After which, the lieutenant decides to return to the base the next day. He tells everyone, "As soon as it's morning tomorrow, we will all go back to the base." To which the children question, "What about the mission?" The lieutenant tells them, "Your safety is more important to me than this mission. We don't even know how many spheres are here. And if they all attack at once, we won't be able to handle them. It's better for us all to go to the base." After hearing the lieutenant's words, all the children sit together in a room and talk about how the lieutenant is stopping this mission because of them and that he might be punished for it. Just then, Hee-rak comes there singing a song and starts looking for his coke, but he doesn't find it, at which he starts making a fuss. That night, So-yeon tries to confess her feelings to the lieutenant. She goes to the lieutenant and tries to say something to him, but then Daeok-jung interrupts. Seeing him, the lieutenant says, "Daeok-jung, where are you going at this time?" To which Daeok-jung, holding his pants, says, "I needed to go to the bathroom." The lieutenant smiles hearing this and then says to So-yeon, "You had something to say, go on." But because Daeok-jung is there, So-yeon says, "Nothing. I'll tell you some other time. Good night." Saying this, she leaves. Daeok-jung is still slowly moving forward so that his pants don't get wet. The lieutenant laughs at this and then goes to his cabin where someone has stolen Hee-rak's coke and left it in the lieutenant's cabin for him. Meanwhile, Nara and Chi-yeol are on watch. Chi-yeol thinks about confessing his feelings but stops. Then he gathers courage and finally says, "Nara, do you have a celebrity crush?" Nara doesn't answer, and Chi-yeol is embarrassed by his foolishness. Just then, Nara sees spheres in the distance and notices that they are exchanging signals with the large sphere in the sky. Learning this, the lieutenant understands how the spheres plan their attacks. They conclude that the spheres are about to attack another nearby shelter. The lieutenant initially talks about withdrawing, but the students discuss among themselves and decide that they should save that shelter. They understand that if they don't go, another team will, and perhaps the lieutenant will also be punished. So they decide to complete the mission. The lieutenant and Won Bin feel proud of the children. The next morning, the lieutenant makes a plan. They will lure the spheres to Mysong City University and use bombs made of dynamite and depleted uranium. The children work together to prepare the bombs and attract the spheres with noise and music. The next day, everyone starts working at their respective positions. Some keep an eye on the spheres, some are setting up bombs, and some are making as much noise as they can by breaking a DJ set in a car. But the spheres arrive earlier than expected, which ruins the plan. Everyone has to fit the bombs quickly. So Yeon, Iha, and Young-soo are setting a bomb together. Just then, Young-soo helps. So-yeon, which makes Iha realize that Young-soo likes So-yeon, and Iha starts making fun of Young-soo for it. Then So-yeon says, "I don't know why, but I'm getting a strange smell. Have the spheres arrived?" But then it turns out that the smell is coming from Young-soo. Young-soo feels very bad hearing this. But then everyone gets back to their work. Still, they can't set all the bombs. The lieutenant decides that he will stay behind to set the bombs. He makes Won Bin promise that he will take the children to safety and sends them away from there. The students and Won Bin reach the Seol Bong building. Meanwhile, the lieutenant gets surrounded while setting the bombs. The spheres have entered the building. He tries to fight, but there are too many of them. He talks to the rest of the team on the radio, says goodbye, and orders them to blow up the building. The students and Won Bin are devastated to make this decision. So Yeon pleads to save him, but the lieutenant knows it's too late. He is injured and cannot fight so many spheres alone. Finally, after much thought and with no other option, Yoo Jung triggers the explosion. The students are still fighting the spheres. Daeok-jung rides a bike to lure the spheres, and from above, Ha-na and So-yeon are firing at them with rifles. On the other side, Iha and Bo-ra are also fighting the spheres. Jong-soo says in a recording, "Our shooting skills have become very good. If the lieutenant were here today, he would be very proud of us." A month has passed since the lieutenant's death and there is no news about Kim Won-bin now. The children are completely alone. Still, they have organized themselves and started planning attacks against the spheres. Deok-jung was joyriding on his bike and making noises like, "Come on, spheres, come closer to your death," to attract them. In this playful manner, while chasing a sphere, he entered a building. He thought, there is only one sphere here. He saw the sphere go into a hole and, moving towards it, said, "Sphere, next time, be born as a human. Then you will know." Just then, he saw that there was a large-sized sphere in that hole and many smaller spheres around it. Seeing this, Deok-jung started shouting, "Help! Help!" and ran forward. He headed towards the roof on his bike. The spheres also started following him. Reaching the roof, Deok-jung said stylishly, "It's showtime. Fiery!" The others started firing from the roof of another building. After killing all the spheres, everyone started checking their bullets. So Yeon said, "I only have one bullet left." Then Bo-ra said, "I have one bullet left." And Aseol said, "Mine is empty." Everyone is shocked to hear this. Aseol then says, "I'm all out of bullets." Then Deok-jung said, "Mine is empty too. My stomach." Everyone started laughing, and after a long day of fighting spheres, they returned to their base, which they now considered their home. Hee-rak is not happy that the others are accepting this life, but the rest understand him and let him complain. It's his coping mechanism. At this time, their biggest problem is that their walkie-talkie is not working. Upon reaching the base, they find Ha-na, who always stays at the base pretending to be sick. She says to them, "Did you find my dry shampoo?" Hee-rak shouts at her, "Why don't you just go bald?" Everyone is tired and hungry. They check their resources and give each other updates. Lee-ha was making a song with his friend and then says, "The song sounds pretty good. We should let the others hear it too." He goes to let the others hear it, but everyone ignores him and walks away. Yoo-jung says in her recording, "We will be 20 years old in a few days. I don't know why, but I feel quite strange." Young-soo is worried about the radio, and Soo-cheol says that it's still not fixed. Yeonju is upset because there is no medicine for frostbite, so Yoo-jung plans to go to a nearby hospital. After which, everyone lines up for food. Jang-soo is giving food to everyone. He gave So-yeon a bowl of rice, then So-yeon bluffed and stole a packet. Joon-hee, acting cute, said, "Jang-soo, can I have one more of these?" Jang-soo gives her a weird look, from which she understands that she won't get another one. It's Deok-jung's turn. He also, acting cute, says, "Jang-soo-hee." Jang-soo, without looking at him, gives him a bowl, to which Deok-jung complains, "Jang-soo, can you give me one more? Look how thin I've become." Jang-soo explains to him, "We don't know what will happen next, so we have to be careful." Deok-jung says, "At this rate, I'll be a skeleton in a few days." Before dinner, they hold a memorial for the lieutenant and the other lost people, after which Ae-seol cooks for everyone. Hana and Bo-ra sit at a distance and watch everyone having fun with Ae-seol, but they don't go to Ae-seol to get their food cooked and just eat the packet food as it is. After dinner, Deok-jung impresses everyone with his barber skills, after which Bo-ra also asks to get her hair cut. Everyone advises against it, but Bo-ra says that she has trouble washing her hair every day, so it's better if she gets a haircut too. Deok-jung cuts Bo-ra's hair and everyone is quite impressed, after which Nara also asks to get her hair cut. But just then, Chi-yeol shouts, "No!" Everyone looks at him in surprise. Then Joon-hee says, "Oh, who are you to tell her what to do and what not to do?" To which Chi-yeol says, "Nara is already so beautiful and her hair is so nice and long, so..." To which Joon-hee says to him, "Why are you worried about her hair?" Hearing this, Chi-yeol becomes awkward and doesn't know what to say. Then Soo-cheol also intervenes and says that he also thinks Nara's hair is beautiful as it is and she shouldn't get it cut. Then Ha-na says to him, "Soo-cheol, what kind of hair do you think would look good on me?" Soo-cheol tells her to keep her hair however she likes. Nara still starts to get her hair cut, but then Soo-cheol and Chi-yeol both signal to Deok-jung that if he does it, they will kill him. To which Deok-jung says, "My scissors broke. Nara, can we cut your hair next time?" Nara also agrees. Then Ha-na says, "How can scissors break?" Later, like every day, they vote on whether to stay at the camp or go to Seoul. The result, as always, comes in favor of staying, which frustrates some people, especially Hee-rak and Soon-yi, who want to go home. They had made a rule not to fight among themselves, but it becomes difficult to hide their frustration. Still, they decide that they will stay together and make the lieutenant proud. The next morning, Yoo-jung divides the group into 3 parts. One will go to the hospital, the second to the penitentiary, and the third will stay at the base. Just then, Chi-yeol says, "Where is Hana?" Everyone was aware of Hana's habit. She always pretended to be sick and stayed at the camp. Then Deok-jung says, "I'll go get her right now." When Deok-jung goes inside, Hana is perhaps changing clothes. Deok-jung apologizes for coming in suddenly and turns his face away. Then Hana says to him, Deok-jung, I think I have a fever. My head is also hurting. To which Deok-jung says, Hana, you were perfectly fine just now. But she convinces Deok-jung. Deok-jung liked Hana, so he falls for her words and goes and tells everyone that Hana is very sick. Soon, Yi decides to go on the mission in Hana's place. The group going to the penitentiary proceeds cautiously. They split up to search quickly, but they hear strange noises. Upon investigation, they find 5 criminals who were left behind there. On the other side, the group going to the hospital, Iha Soyeon, Sun-yi, Lina Ra, Su-cheol, Young-soo, Yeonju, Chi-yeol, goes to find medical supplies. During this, Chi-yeol is distracted because he remembers what happened the previous night when he and Deok-jung overheard Su-cheol confessing his love to Na-ra. Su-cheol is afraid that he might not be able to confess before he dies, so he gathers the courage and asks Na-ra to be his girlfriend after the war. Na-ra is about to answer, but Su-cheol stops her and gives her time to think. Chi-yeol also likes Na-ra and feels he still has a chance, but he also feels insecure. The students are discussing the prisoners in the penitentiary, so Yoon says, I saw a red flag earlier, and that these prisoners are on death row. While they are talking, the prisoners beg for their release. The students feel that leaving them without food would be like murder. Finally, they decide to give the prisoners food and come back later, when the radio is fixed and they can talk to the military. They give food to the prisoners and do not tell them about the current situation outside. Ae-seol notices that one prisoner is neither eating nor moving from his spot. She goes to check on him to see if he is sick. He asks her to deliver a message to his sick mother because they are not releasing him. Ae-seol is moved by his words and takes a photo, on the back of which his mother's number is written. The other prisoners accuse the kids of leaving them to die and call them murderers. Still, the students decide to complete their search and return to the base. They start looking for a radio or spare parts, but Ae-seol secretly stays behind the team and releases the sick prisoner. But that prisoner grabs her and releases all the other prisoners as well. Bo-ra is the first to notice that something is wrong and goes with the others to find Ae-seol. They find out that she has been taken hostage, and they find the main gate of the death row cells. Initially, the students don't want to let the prisoners use Ae-seol as a bargaining chip. When a prisoner says, look, your friend is with us. If you want to free her, open the gate. Hearing this, Bo-ra says, she's not our friend. She released all of you without asking us, so she's not our friend anymore. The prisoners know they are bluffing, so they try to scare the kids. Bo-ra angrily shouts and tells them to release Ae-seol. The prisoners threaten to harm her and give them 10 minutes to make a decision. While they are talking, Jang-soo gets an alert from the sphere detector. Taking advantage of this opportunity, they release the prisoners, but the prisoners do not keep their promise and do not release Ae-seol. The students have no choice but to run. Meanwhile, at the base, Hana, Junhee, and Deok-jung are being careless and don't even realize that another group has entered the base. That group is harmless and after introducing themselves says that they are going to Seoul. They found out that the college scholastic ability test has been officially canceled and they have separated from their team to go home. For them, there is no point in fighting anymore. Hana, Junhee, and Deok-jung are surprised to hear this. They explain, our radio is broken, so we didn't get this information. That group tries to fix the radio but finds out that the radio was deliberately broken. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Chi-yeol tries to tell Na-ra his feelings but fails. Na-ra talks to him and says that she is also struggling. She gives him a chance to express his feelings, but he is too shy. In the end, he indirectly friend-zones her. Chi-yeol thinks of confessing through a video, but he can't do that either. He hears some voices and goes to check where he only finds Su-cheol. Su-cheol is behaving suspiciously as if he is hiding something. He also has the voting ballot papers. He distracts Chi-yeol by talking, don't you want to know what Na-ra replied to my confession yesterday? Hearing this, Chi-yeol says, yes, tell me, what did Na-ra reply? Su-cheol tells him, Na-ra said yes, and now we are together. Hearing this, Chi-yeol becomes a little sad, but then Su-cheol, laughing, says, I'm just kidding. I gave her some time to think, but even if she says no, I won't stop pursuing her. In this way, he distracts him. At the hospital, Young-soo and Yeonju talk about why he is so focused on studying even during the war. Young-soo explains that he comes from a poor family and needs good marks to get into a good college and find a good job to help his family. Yeonju encourages him, and he understands why he is the way he is. The other students celebrate finding medical supplies. They also find a car full of ammo and resources. They decide how to take all of this to the base. When Cha-ki-ha tries to give an order to Young-soo, he gets angry. To stop the fight, Chi-yeol takes the responsibility himself. A little later, a gunshot is heard, and Su-cheol is seen falling. The students don't understand what happened. Some say he fell, while others say he took his own life. But Chiyol remembers his words when he said he wouldn't stop pursuing Nara. This very thing convinces him that Su Cheol could not take such a step. The prisoners start chasing the students. One of them is against this idea, but the others outnumber him. And one of them tells him that he used his mother's picture to fool the kids, and he has his men waiting outside, so he too reluctantly agrees to find the students. The other 4 prisoners talk about killing the boys and harming the girls. They still have Isiol and have no intention of letting her go. They split up to find the students, but they don't realize that the real threat is not the students, but the spheres. The students hide and wait for the spheres to attack the prisoners. This was their plan from the beginning, as they had lured the spheres and deliberately surrendered. They had also removed the bullets from their guns, which the prisoners had taken. Youngshin had also signaled their plan to Isiol before surrendering. When the spheres come down, the prisoners are killed one by one, except for 2. The last prisoner is finished off by his own companion to save the students. All the students point their guns at that prisoner, but that prisoner throws his gun and says, "I was wondering why they suddenly but now I understand they have come to clean up the garbage like humans of this world." Saying this, he starts to go back inside. The students also let him go. The students also rescue Asiol, and Bo-ra takes a big risk to save her. Although Bo-ra behaves indifferently towards Asiol, she cares for her. The students take back their guns, arm themselves, fight the spheres, and head back to the base. Meanwhile, at the hospital, the students decide what to do with Sucheol's body. They decide to take his body to the base. Soon, Yi finds the ballot papers in Sucheol's pocket, and they start to wonder why he had them. Soon, Yi recognizes her vote, and everyone starts to think that Sucheol had rigged the elections. She tells everyone about it. Yeonju says that Sucheol had been behaving strangely for some time, and they wonder if he took his own life. At the base, Hana, Junhee, and Daeok Jung can't believe that someone sabotaged their mission. The intruders say goodbye to them and wish them luck. Before they leave, Daeok Jung says to them, "Do you really think someone deliberately broke the radio? I mean, you could be wrong." Then a girl says, "Yes, we could be wrong. Don't trust us." Saying this, they start to leave. Then one of the boys asks, "I know someone deliberately broke the radio. Then why did you lie to them?" The girl replies, "Let it be. If it makes them feel uncomfortable to know that one of them betrayed them, then it's better to let it be a lie." Here, these 3 decide to keep this matter to themselves to maintain peace in the group. First, the team from the penitentiary arrives at the base, but they don't find a radio or spare parts. They are all very tired and don't want to talk about what happened. Asiol offers to give Bo-ra first aid and apologizes for putting the team in danger. She explains that she did it because she was abandoned after her parents' divorce. Bo-ra accepts her apology. Youngshin also checks on her. The second team also arrives, bringing Sucheol's body with them. The students are saddened by his death. They hold his funeral and mourn. After the burial, Chiyol raises the issue of the rigged votes. He shows the ballots that were with Sucheol and demands an answer from Yu Jung. All the students want to know the truth. And after a debate, it is revealed that Yu Jung, Sucheol, Jang Soo, and Bi Ha had rigged the votes. It is also revealed that Sucheol was the one who sabotaged the radio when he found out that the college scholastic ability test was canceled. They believed that staying at the base was safer than going to Seoul. They had made the decision for everyone without asking the others. The other students get angry, and Young-soo breaks down because after facing so much difficulty, he was on this mission only for the college scholastic ability test, and now that too was canceled. Everyone feels that they have been betrayed and forcibly kept in a fight they did not want to be in. Yoo-jung, Jang-soo, and Brady-ha apologize and admit that they did what the adults had initially done to them. But Yoo-jung also says that going to Seoul is still dangerous. The other students don't care about that and want to go home. Nara is upset, so Chi-yeol comforts her and says that they will go to Seoul and find their parents. He questions Soo-cheol's death, but Nara tells him not to assume anything without proof. Meanwhile, Young-soo tears up his book when he realizes the college scholastic ability test is canceled. The next morning, the students leave for Seoul. They are all quiet and sad, and one of them says that the war has changed them, and he wishes they had not decided to go to the capital. The students are walking towards Seoul. They stop at a place because there is no way forward. Just then, So-yoon sees a car. She moves towards it, but Hee-rak stops her because there are some bloodstains there. Everyone cautiously moves in that direction. There, they find the dead bodies of students from Science High School. These were the same kids who had come to the base on the day of Soo-cheol's death and told Daeok-jung about the broken radio. Everyone is disheartened to see this. No one is in good shape. They're tired, and their food and water are running out. Young-soo is still hung up on the cancellation of the college scholastic ability tests and wants the team to go back. He thinks the exams might still happen and doesn't want to lose his points for abandoning the mission. The other students tell him to accept reality that the exams will not happen now. For them, survival is the most important thing right now, not exams. After walking for a long time, they find an amusement park where they find food. The students are still angry with Yu Jung, Su Cheol, Jang Soo, and Yi Ha, which is why the three of them are sitting quietly, separate from everyone else. Deok Jung tells everyone, but if you think about it, the students from Science High School who were killed were all the ones who decided to leave their team and go to Seoul. If they hadn't tampered with the votes, we would have been dead in their place. Everyone agrees with Deok Jung's point and calls the three of them over. Everyone is eating together. Just then, Hana says, "How long has it been since we've been to an amusement park?" Hearing this, Deok Jung says, "At the beginning of the semester, Sucheol wanted to come here, but at that time we weren't that close, so we didn't go. I wish I had gone to the amusement park with him." So Yoon and Young Shin fix the generator, and the lights and rides turn on. Everyone thinks of taking a ride, but they are also afraid that their noise might attract the spheres. But in the end, they all decide that they will enjoy the rides without screaming or making noise. They go on rides, play games, and have fun. Iha is sitting alone, so Cheol goes to him. Then, Iha admits that he had a fight with Sucheol before his death because he hadn't burned those votes, so Sucheol was angry with him. He feels guilty for losing his friends. Jang Soo and So Yeon are on guard while the others enjoy themselves. On the other side, Young Soo goes off on his own because he feels it's wrong to have fun at a time like this. Jang Soo tries to explain to him that they can take the exam next year, but this irritates Young Soo even more because he feels that Jang Soo doesn't understand his situation. He is poor and doesn't have another year to waste. He needs to get into college quickly so he can get a job soon. On the other side, the students take photos in a photo booth and think of taking a group photo. They realize that Young Soo, Jang Soo, and So Yeon are not there, but they still think of taking a photo. Just then, Cheol stops to erase the memory, where he finds a video of Sucheol. This video was recorded by Sucheol. Cheol had forgotten the camera, and Sucheol found it. In the video, Sucheol is apologizing for tampering with the votes and breaking the radio, but just then, the spheres attack. Sucheol fights them, but while shooting, he falls out of a window. All of this is recorded on camera. Seeing it, the students are sad, but they are relieved that no one had killed him. Meanwhile, Jang Soo and So Yeon are sitting together and talking. Jang Soo says to So Yeon, "Sorry for the deception. Maybe I wanted to protect you like the lieutenant." So Yeon tells him, "We are still just kids. How can you protect anyone?" The lieutenant was an adult, so he was protecting everyone. Hearing this, Jang Soo says, "I'll be 20 next month." So Yeon laughs and says, "Does being 20 mean being an adult?" After a while, they start to remember the lieutenant. Then So Yeon gives Jang Soo a Coke and comforts him. They don't see Young Soo watching them from a distance. Later, So Yeon is walking alone when she meets Young Soo, who is having a mental breakdown and hallucinating that the college scholastic ability tests are not canceled. He says to So Yeon, look, the college scholastic ability test is not canceled. Look in the newspaper. We should go and tell everyone, and we should return to the mission so we can get extra points." So Yeon looks at the newspaper and tries to explain to him that the college scholastic ability test is really canceled. This is an old newspaper. But Young Soo gets angry and aggressive and says to So Yeon, "Why do you always look down on me? Is it because I'm poor? I will also go to a good college, get a good job, and give you everything that Jang Soo can give you." So Yeon doesn't understand anything. Then he continues, "I saw you two kissing on the beach. You're doing all this even in a situation like this." And he starts to argue with So Yeon. In the struggle, he pushes her, and she falls and becomes unconscious. Young Soo realizes what he has done, but his condition remains unstable. He feels that So Yeon is in this state because of him and feels ashamed. But then he remembers everything, how So Yeon showed him the middle finger, how when they were fitting the bomb, So Yeon commented on him smelling strange. Young Soo liked her, but So Yeon never noticed him. Thinking this, Young Soo starts to behave strangely and begins to take advantage of the unconscious. So Yeon. Just then, Iha arrives. And, seeing Young Soo taking advantage of the unconscious, So Yeon starts to beat him. A fight breaks out between them. Young Soo finds a rifle during the fight, threatens him with it, and tells the Iha not to tell anyone about what happened. But Iha starts to beat him. Then, seeing an opportunity, Young Soo attacks him and finally shoots him. Hearing the gunshot, the other students come running. They find So Yeon injured and find Young Soo by the seashore. Young Soo gets scared seeing them. Everyone asks him what he was doing by the sea. Then Young Soo makes up a false story that spheres attacked and took Iha into the sea and he went to save him. Hee-rak is very sad and tries to find him, but just then, they get a signal on the sphere detector that spheres are present. Everyone believes Young Soo's story, and due to the threat of the sphere, the group leaves from there. On the way, they take care of So-yeon. She says she doesn't remember anything, but she seems scared of Young-soo. They stop at a school. At the school, the students rest and treat So-yeon. They decide that they will go to find Arihat's body later. Young-soo is scared but confident that the body will not be found. He goes outside. Inside, the other students talk about the future, about meeting their families, going home, and doing things they like. They remember their lost ones. Slowly, So-yeon starts to remember and tells Jang-soo what happened. Jang-soo tells her to rest. Young-soo overhears their conversation and becomes even more unstable. He starts having hallucinations of Lee-ha bullying him again. In the classroom, the other students are talking. Then they realize that Young-soo is not there. Jang-soo goes to find him, but as soon as he opens the door, Young-soo starts firing at Jang-soo and says, "Sorry, Jang-soo, but I have to go to college." The students are in shock and cannot react. Some try to respond but don't get a chance. Young-soo was shooting at them as if he were killing spheres. Rak shoots him in the leg, but Young-soo kills him. Bo-ra and I-seol get out, but Bo-ra is killed in the hallway. Chi-yeol and Na-ra also get out. Na-ra shoots him, but he doesn't die, and she herself gets injured. Chi-yeol tries to stop him. Young-soo says he has no choice and apologizes. Just then, I-seol kills him. They return to the classroom, but there is only blood and destruction. They find a book in which they had written their future plans. In this incident, only 4 students survive: Chi-yeol, Na-ra, Ha-na, and I-seol. The next scene shows a time 2 years later, where Chi-yeol is sitting in the college Scholastic Ability Test exam hall and explains just 2 weeks after that accident, the military developed a weapon which killed almost all the spheres in a few weeks. All my friends were also killed. Then Chi-yeol leaves the college Scholastic Ability Test exam in the middle and walks out of the exam hall. When he is standing outside his school, he remembers how at the beginning of the semester, everyone was together. The scene changes. All the children are in the classroom. The boys watch the girls doing their makeup and gossip about them. Just then, a girl says, "We look like Blackpink, don't we?" Then they all introduce themselves as Blackpink members. The boys start to lose their control seeing this. Then Daeok-jung says, "I have created a poll in the group chat to find out the most popular girl in the class," and then tells them, "Keep it a secret from the girls." Then Taeman gets up and starts making fun of everyone's makeup and, flirting with the class president, says, "You look the best without makeup." Just then, the class president angrily walks away, and Taeman finds out that she had spent 2 hours doing that makeup, which ruined Taeman's chance. Just then, the teacher shouts, "Why have the girls come with makeup on? Take off your makeup right now." All the girls start hiding, and the boys also take off their blazers to hide the girls. And with this, the drama ends.